So strange. So strange that it wasn't working earlier. Okay. If you are on Instagram, you can pop over on YouTube now. I am on YouTube. I can see myself. We're good to go. And I'll be able to share links and all that sort of stuff with you. If you are not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, you're going to want to make sure that you do that because I post these videos every single week. So come on over, back over to YouTube if you are on Instagram. If you don't want to be on YouTube, that's fine too. But I have way more abilities on YouTube to engage with you and help you get your money together. All right. So please, please, please come back over to YouTube. All right. All right. So I'll have to send out the link, the replay link for YouTube because YouTube failed me earlier today. So, all right. I'm so glad y'all are still here on Instagram, on YouTube. Thank you for being here as well. Just my camera a little bit. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the love. Thank you for bearing with me as I figured out in real time this technology issue. All right. So I have my notes here as I always do because I never want to forget anything. And I want to make sure that you get all this info. Okay. So the thing we're going to talk about today is AVGO stock. So as I was asking people over here on Instagram, I'm over here on YouTube. So if you see my face like moving back and forth, that's because I'm talking to YouTube here and I'm talking to Instagram over here. Okay. So do me a favor and let me know if you've been here for any of the lives. So this is my third or fourth week going live. I think it's the fourth week going live. 3 of those weeks we talk about stocks. And one of the stocks that we talked about was AVGO stock. So AVGO was like the second or third week that we talked about this. AVGO is splitting. Okay, AVGO is splitting. Hey, Desi, thanks for popping over on YouTube. AVGO is splitting. So for those of you who weren't here, I'm going to give you guys a real quick little like synopsis of stock splits and all that stuff and how that kind of works so that you're not behind. If you've already been here, just bear with me. We got to make sure that nobody is left behind because we don't want nobody being confused. We're talking about your money. And so it's really, really important that your money is together. Your money is straight. Okay. All right. Sean says she purchased AVGO stock last week. Okay, Sean, big bank. Sean bought it when it was up. Okay, what's up? Danny is back. Hey, Karen. Hey, Tiffany. Thank you all for coming over here over to YouTube. Again, if you're on Instagram, you're going to want to join us on YouTube. YouTube is where the real party is. But if you prefer to stay on Instagram, no worries. Just know that I won't be able to give you as much over on Instagram because it just doesn't allow me to do so like it does on Instagram. It does on YouTube. Okay, so Sean purchased AVGO. Tiffany sliding back from Instagram. What's up, Tiffany? All right. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with stock splits, okay, so stocks split generally when the stock is high. Okay, so what that means is, let's say a stock is $1,000, right? The stock price is $1,000, which is relatively expensive for the average retail investor, which is you and I. We are considered retail investors. We are not corporate investors, right? We are retail investors. We're individual people investing in the stock market for ourselves, right? Not for companies. So when a stock splits, the price splits by however much that the company decides to split it by. So let's say it's a 10-to-1 stock split. That means $1,000 stock will be divided into 10. One share of that stock will now be, how do I say it so y'all can understand it? One share of that stock will now be worth 10. Okay, so if you have $1,000 stock and it splits by 10, that stock is now $100, which makes it a lot easier for you and I as retail investors to get in and buy that stock at $100 than $1,000. You can buy 10 stocks at $100 for $1,000, or you could buy one stock for $1,000. Either way, you still spent $1,000. Follow me? So you're not losing or gaining money here. You're just getting more stocks. So in the case of Sean here, who purchased AVGO stock last week, I don't know what the price was last week, but let's say it was $1,600, right? Which is pretty expensive. Well, when she bought that one stock, when it splits 10-to-1 on Friday, which is why I'm urgently making this video for you guys, because this is happening on Friday. When this happens on Friday and the stock splits, Sean will know if she only bought one stock, she will now own 10 of that same stock, but she will not have spent any additional money, right? Why is that beneficial for her to have purchased that stock prior to the split? Well, now she owns 10 stocks. So when that stock goes up, as opposed to those of us who might purchase just one, right? So when that stock goes up again, Sean benefits from having 10 shares as opposed to someone who may have only purchased 1 share. Does that make sense? So she can make her money faster. So kudos to you, Sean, for doing the doggone thing, right? But for the vast majority of people, spending over $1,000 on one single share of stock is cost prohibitive. And so the reason that companies create stock splits in the first place is because they utilize the money that we spend on stocks. They utilize the money that we spend on buying shares of stock, right? And they take that money and they invest into their company in the form of R&D, in the form of hiring new people, expansion for their company, what have you. Who knows what they use it for, right? But whatever they use it for, they need our money for that. And so in exchange for us giving them money, they then give us shares of stock. Okay. So it's advantageous for the stock price to be a relatively reasonable price so that more and more people have the opportunity to give them this money. Got it? When the stock splits, it's splitting because the price is so high that it's cost prohibitive for the average consumer. So they're starting to notice their the amount of stocks being purchased or shares being purchased is declining, and they need to or want to increase the volume of people who are able to buy the stock. Hence why the stock will split. Because a lot of people tend to think that when the stock splits, that means that the stock is doing bad because they're lowering the price. They're really not lowering the price. They're actually lowering the price, but increasing the amount of stocks available. So it ends up, it's net, it's all the same, right? But again, if you have stocks already and they split like Sean did, and Beverly says she bought AVGO stock today as well. So both Beverly and Sean will benefit from having the stock. How many stocks did you guys buy, by the way? Sean, how many shares did you buy? Beverly, how many shares did you buy? Right? So however many shares that they bought, let's say they bought 2 shares. Well, instead of having 2 shares on Friday, they're now going to have 20 shares, for example. Okay. And that is how a lot of people make a ton of money on the stock market because they just buy and hold. They buy and hold. So somebody earlier was saying that she has some stocks, but they're not doing well. Well, if you just buy and hold, right, especially if they're what we consider blue chip stocks or stocks that are doing well, not necessarily crypto because crypto is really volatile, but if we're just talking about regular stocks and you just buy and hold it, I promise you, on average, the stock market has gone up 10%, right? There's people who bought stock in Apple in the 80s. I can guarantee you that Apple went down sometimes and it went back up and it went down. It never goes all the way up, right? It goes down and up. Exactly. I consider stock investing to be basically stock investing is essentially what I consider to be like gambling, right? But it's like high-end gambling, right? So it's like what's the word I'm looking for? Not professional gambling, but basically it's like a higher level of gambling. That's really what it is, right? Because it's a gamble. You don't know if your money's going to go down or go up. But if you buy and hold, if we look at the history, it's sophisticated. That's what it's sophisticated gambling. That's what I call it. So if you look at the stock market over time, it usually goes up. So whoever that was that said that her stuff is not doing well, except for Delta and Ford, don't even worry about it. You know, this is completely sidebar. This not even on topic. But I was just looking at Williams Sonoma yesterday because my friend and I were talking about there's a Crate and Barrel outlet near my house now that they just built. Williams Sonoma stock is up, which is interesting. I got to do some more research on this because it's up a lot. It's not a tech company. It's not an energy company, but it's up significantly in a retail category, which is actually not doing so well right now. So I got to figure out what's going on with Williams and Sonoma. That may be a move that I might have to make, but I'll research it before I tell it to y'all. Just keep a look at it. Keep a look at it. I think the stock ticker is WMS. I think the stock ticker. All right. Anyway, back to AVGO. AVGO is a tech company. AVGO is highly involved in AI, and we know AI is hot right now. Hot, hot, hot. AI is everywhere, right? And so anything that has to do with AI, you should at least take the time to consider it. Okay. I'm not saying you got to buy it because you want to do your research, but at least consider it. Tiffany says she was the one with the loser stocks. Don't worry, they'll probably go back up. I mean, honestly, there was a time where Ford was down, way down. Wasn't nobody buying Ford. So if Ford is up now for you, that's just an example of how the stock market can recover. Okay. So AVGO stock, just like Nvidia, I told y'all to buy Nvidia 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I told y'all to buy Nvidia. Did you buy it? If you bought Nvidia, let me know. Give me a 3 in the comments. No, give me a 2 in the comments if you bought Nvidia. If you bought Nvidia, give me a 2 in the comments. Now, Nvidia is one of those stocks, right? Nvidia is a blue chip stock. It is way up. The stock was like, I don't know, a whole lot of money. It split 10 to 1 3 or 4 weeks ago. And it went down and people started panicking like, oh my God, maybe I made a bad decision. This is the most valuable company in the world. It is more valuable. Like, I'm not joking. This is not an exaggeration. This is the most valuable company in the entire, not in the United States, not in North America, in the freaking world. Okay. The stocks are going to go up and they're going to go down. But right now, baby, it's back up. It's back up right now. So we in the money. We in the money right now, right? And that's actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but in the money is literally a financial term. I know it's kind of like a term that we use just kind of flippantly or whatever, but it literally is a financial term. In the money means that you are making money. On the money means that you are breaking even. Out of the money means that you are losing money. So we are in the money when it comes to Nvidia. Okay. But just a few days ago, it was down, right? The stock market usually recovers. If you do your research, like I've been teaching you guys how to do, if you do your research, if you spend your time looking at the historical nature of the stocks, you'll generally see that which stocks are good to look at and which ones are not. By the way, if you have not yet subscribed to the Get Money Show here on YouTube, do me a favor and subscribe. Literally 74% of you who are watching are not subscribed. Like, we're going together, like we're dating, we're going out on dates, we're having a good time, you're enjoying the content, but we don't go together yet. I need a commitment. Okay. So do me a favor and like, comment, and subscribe to the Get Money Show on YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe, and specifically subscribe. Okay. And make sure that you share this as well, because sharing is caring. And we want to make sure that everybody gets all this info. All right. Now, when it comes to AVGO, AVGO is a company that pays dividends. And here's where the passive income comes in. Okay. Tiffany says, I didn't buy individual NVIDIA, but I did invest my Roth IRA and 401k and tech funds. That includes high percentage of NVIDIA. Perfect. Perfect. That's perfect, Tiffany. Doesn't matter if it's individual stocks or if it's in your Roth IRA or 401k. The bottom line is that you got it, right? That's all that matters. So kudos to you. Kudos to you. And it's actually maybe even better because with your 401k and your Roth and all that sort of stuff, that has to sit for a while. So now you have the opportunity for it to really, really grow exponentially without you getting like nervous and pulling it out, right? So that's actually a good thing. So don't feel like you didn't do enough. Like, you did just fine, girl. Just fine. Okay. Desi just subscribed. Thank you, girl. Thank you, girl. Thank you, girl. I appreciate you so much. Okay. So when it comes to AVGO and stocks like it, they pay dividends, right? Dividends are beautiful because, as you know, if you've been watching this for any length of time, I'm constantly talking about making FU money. FU money, right? FU money is money that you can say, hey, my job is, tripping and they are treating me unfairly. I don't have to stay here because I have FU money. I can go find me another job. I can go chill at home for a couple of months. I have money in the bank where I'm not reliant upon this job. I'm here because I want to be here, not because I have to be here. Make Leadership Academy, my YouTube channel is the Get Money Show. So if you just go to YouTube and type in Get Money Show, my show will pop up. So please come on over to YouTube. We would love to have you over here. This is where the party really is happening over here. Okay. So the Get Money Show on YouTube. Okay. Thank you for asking. Hey Zakia, thanks for being here. And I'm so glad that so many of y'all came back because the first link that I sent out didn't work. So sorry, but thank you for rejoining the new link. Okay. David, the name of my YouTube is the Get Money Show. Get Money Show. Get Money Show on YouTube. Thank you for asking again. Okay. So dividends are paid out by companies, right? And so we want FU money. FU money is the money that we can literally say, FU, I don't need this. FU, I don't want to live here in this particular state anymore. It's too cold. I want to move to Hawaii. I want to move to Texas. I want to move to Europe, wherever you want to go, right? This person that you're dating is or married to maybe has become abusive. Right? How many people stay in bad relationships or toxic relationships, not because they want to stay there, but because the other party controls the finances, right? And you can't leave. I just saw a post yesterday, and I meant to post it, but I forgot. A post yesterday of a young girl. She's like 22 years old, married to some guy who's like 50 something, and she's just like, it's a horrible. They got some kids, and this is a horrible situation, and she needs to get out. So she has a GoFundMe to get out of this marriage that she doesn't want to be in anymore. And it's just like, man, if she just had saved up her money, granted, she's really young, she's 22, right? So this is probably a outlier kind of situation, but you know, she can't leave, not because she doesn't want to leave. She can't leave because this person holds all the financial cards in the relationship. Give me a second. I got to plug in my phone on my so it doesn't die for Instagram. Okay. Artistry in me. What's the stock symbol for AVGO? It's literally AVGO. So the company is really called Broadcom. Broadcom is the company, right? But the stock ticker, and I'm so glad you asked that. So the stock ticker is AVGO, but the company is Broadcom. So thank you for asking that so I could clarify for everybody. Okay, that's a great question, actually. So over the course of the time that I've been posting here on YouTube, which is about 9 weeks now, right? I've been going live for 4 weeks, but I've been posting content for 9 weeks. I've been talking about building this FU money. And part of that is the passive income. So what I told you guys last week is that passive income is not always fast. And I know we live in this microwave society and we think that passive is something that you're going to get tomorrow or you're going to get next week, but that's not always the case. That's not usually the case. True passive income, where you really don't have to do a doggone thing for it, is something that takes time to build. So last week we talked about high yield savings accounts and how over the course of 5 years, you could earn like almost $10,000. If you were not here for that video, you're going to want to make sure that you go back and watch the replay for that. That was amazing, right? Almost $10,000 in literally passive income doing absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay. When it comes to AVGO pays, or Broadcom pays dividends, right? Now, I want to explain to you how dividends work. So I'm going to try my best to log into this like tester Robinhood account over on YouTube so I can show you where to find this if the stock that you have pays dividends. So let me see if I could get in here. This is not my normal account. This is like an account that I just use for like playing around and testing. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen in just a minute, but not all stocks pay dividends, okay? And just because a stock doesn't pay dividends doesn't mean that the stock isn't good. It just means that particular stock doesn't pay dividends. But ideally, we want to get dividend-paying stocks because why not, right? For example, Amazon is an amazing stock to have, but it doesn't pay dividends. I don't know why Jeff Bezos don't want to pay us dividends. I don't know, but he don't, okay? But NVIDIA does pay dividends, and so does AVGO or Broadcom, okay? And so how the dividends work, I don't want you, remember, it's passive, which does not necessarily mean fast. That's two totally different things, okay? If you're with me, give me a 3. If you understanding that passive income is not always fast income or not even usually fast income, give me a 3 in the comments, okay? Because this is so important of a point for everybody to grasp, okay? All right. Passive income is not necessarily fast. Okay, got it. I got all these 3s. Okay, thank you. Y'all listening, okay? So we're playing the long game here, okay? We're playing the long game. Slow and grow, Karen. Exactly. Slow and grow. I love that, actually. I love that saying. I might have to use it. Slow and grow, right? All right. So if you are purchasing AVGO stock this week, it's going to split on Friday. I told y'all to purchase NVIDIA before, and it's already up like 14 or 16% or something crazy in like a couple of weeks. Okay. It did go down, but it went right back up. Right. So I'm telling you, AVGO is another one. AVGO is in the AI game, the artificial intelligence game. And it is not as valuable of a company as NVIDIA. I mean, it can't possibly be because NVIDIA is literally the most valuable company in the world. But AVGO is very close in market share, right? So AVGO or Broadcom is another really, really good company for you to be looking at. It is going to be more affordable for you because as of today, as of right this second, is paying, I'm sorry, is trading at $1,748.60. So let's just say $1,750. Okay. It's trading at $1,750 right now. On Friday, the stock will be whatever the price is. Okay. Keep in mind, the stocks go up and they go down, they go up and they go down. So it may be a little bit more, maybe a little bit less on Friday. We don't really know. Let's just assume that it's 1750. That means that on Friday, this stock will, one share of the stock will go from being 1750 to being $174.90. Okay. $174.90. Keep in mind, when a stock price is very high, that's a very good sign. Just like last week, I told you guys to get in on Chipotle, right? Chipotle was trading at like $3,500 or something wild, right? Something crazy, right? You cannot always go by what social media is saying. Social media will be telling you ain't nobody buying Chipotle, that they're mad because people they're not putting enough chicken in the bowls and all the other kind of stuff. But all I know is that every time I go to a Chipotle, that boy is full. I ain't never been to a dead Chipotle. Have you? I've never been to Chipotle where wasn't nobody in there. Okay. So you can't go by what social media is saying. You have to go by what the numbers show. Men lie, women lie, Republicans lie, Democrats lie. Everybody lies, but numbers do not lie. Okay. Karen says she's gonna get a few shares of AVGO on the split. Perfect. I'm gonna call you O because I don't want to say your name wrong. Okay. O says I will likely buy a few shares of AVGO. Perfect. Okay. So AVGO is a great stock to get. I'm gonna share my screen now. Hopefully you all will be able to see it and it doesn't give me any trouble. And I'm going to show you where to find if your stock is paying dividend. So over here on Instagram, if you want to see this on YouTube, you got to come over on YouTube because I can't share this information. I can't share the screen on Instagram. Okay. Okay. So can you guys see my screen? Let me know if you can see my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, Beverly can see it. Tiffany can see it. Perfect. Okay, everybody can see the screen. So this is AVGO stock. I'm looking in the oh, David. Okay, hey David. I'm looking in the Robinhood app. Okay, so I'm on Robinhood. If you have Robinhood, your screen will look similar to this. If you have a different brokerage account, that's totally fine too. You can use, Stash, Cash App, whoever has AVGO stock. It doesn't really matter. The information is still the same. Okay, so as I'm looking here on Broadcom, we can see the stock is changing right before our eyes. Like when I first started sharing the screen, it was 1749. Now it's 1750, right? So it literally changes by the second, okay? And so if we scroll down, we can see here under key statistics, okay? So in your account, it's going to show under key statistics. Under key statistics, we can see a lot of information about the stock. But here's where we're going to look for the dividend, okay? This company pays dividends 1.17% for every $100 you have in this stock. Okay. And this is an annual rate. So in order to figure out how much money you would make in dividends, you will multiply 1.17 in this case times however much money you've invested. So, or however much money is worth. So let's say you bought one share. Where's my little thing right here? Okay. So let's say you bought one share. You will multiply $1,751 or whatever it is today, $1,749 now times 1.17%, and you would get your average yield per year for this stock. Now, why are stock splits important and why is this valuable? Because again, Sean and Beverly both bought AVGO stock already before the split, right? So now they currently own one share apiece. But when the stock splits, they're going to own 10 shares apiece, right? And so when that stock price goes back up, they're going to own more dollars. They're going to have a higher dollar value on each one of those shares as opposed to it just being one share. So let's say the stock splits on Friday and it starts trading at $179.50 or whatever, right? $175.50. Well, when that stock price goes back up, and I can't assure anything, but I'm pretty doggone sure the stock is going to rise again just because of the nature of AI is a thing, tech is huge, all that sort of stuff. And this company is knee deep in that. When this price goes back up, let's say it goes back up to 1746, well, that's going to be per share, but they may not have put any additional money into it, right? So they're going to be making 1.17% on all those additional shares, right? As opposed to just buying one share. Does that make sense? So it's super great if you can buy a stock before the split, but if you can't buy the stock before the split, don't feel like you're losing, because you're not. It's just, you just do better because you have a split. But the stocks often split again anyway. So even if you don't buy this before the split today, it might split again in a few more years and you can get in on that split. Okay. Chrissy said, can I say that again? Okay. So I really wish I had a calculator up here and I don't. So let me just try to pull up my calculator on my computer. Okay. So hold on, because I want to do the actual math for you. Okay. So the stock is currently trading at $17.50, right? Let's just say $1,750. Okay. And we're going to multiply that by 1.17%. So that means that if you owned one stock of this as of today, right, your dividend would be $20.47, right? But when that stock splits, right, now you're going to own, or Beverly and Sean in this case are going to own 10 shares apiece because they bought one stock at the high price. It's going to split into 10. So now they're going to own 10 shares. Let's say that stock goes back up. So we're going to multiply that $1,746 times 10, right? $1,746 times 10. So when the stock goes back up, let's say it goes back up to this exact same amount, but they have 10 shares instead of just one. Okay. So now so they've invested $1,746, but now when it splits into 10 and it rises back up to the price it is today, now without putting any more money in, they now have $17,460. Does that make sense? I can write it out for you if it doesn't make sense. Let me write it out. Okay, so one share currently equals, we're going to say 1746. Okay. One share I know on Instagram this is backwards, but on YouTube is right. Okay. So on one share right now is 1746. Okay. When the stock splits, that 1746 is going to get divided by 10. So that's going to be $174.60. Okay. Got it? All right. Chevy, I'll answer your question in just 1 second. That's a great question. Okay. Now, when that stock price goes back up, let's say it goes back to the exact same price that it was today, right? So now Sean and Beverly, who also bought before the split, they go from having invested 1746 to, we're going to now multiply that 1746 by 10 shares. And now the value of their stock is, can y'all see that? 17,000, right? $17,460. Okay. When stocks split, do they all split at the same ratio, 1 to 10, or can the ratio vary? The ratio can vary depending on the company. But if a stock splits, I know Sean said, woohoo, right? Sean, I told you in the money, right? So that's a great question, Monica. Monica's my sister, by the way. So when a stock splits, let's say Ford split today, right? If it's 10 to 1, all the shares of Ford are going to split 10 to 1. It's not like some of them are going to split 10 to 1 and some are going to split 50 to 1. Some are going to split 20 to 1. All the shares of Ford specifically are going to split 10 to 1. But let's say Chipotle, like last week, they split 50 to 1. So all their shares are going to split 50 to 1. So whatever the company is, the one company, all their shares are going to split by the same amount. But no, to your question, not every company always splits 10 to 1. Sometimes they split 2-1. Sometimes they split 6-1. Sometimes they split 10-1. Chipotle was an anomaly. That's probably like a once in a lifetime thing, 50-1, right? That normally doesn't happen, right? So that's a great question. So yes, it's not always 10-1. Sometimes it's a different amount, but 10-1 is a very common stock split ratio. Great question. Okay. All right. So let's finish doing the math. So this is how much their value of their stock is going to be before they, without putting a single dime into it. This is passive income that we talked about. Okay. Now let's talk about dividends. So with the dividends, let me use a different color. All right. So this one share is now worth $17.46 as of today, right? AVGO pays a 1.17% dividend rate, right? So for every $100, they get 1.17%, right? So let's do the math on that. So 1746 times 1.17% equals different color. Oh, that's too light. You're not gonna be able to see that. Let's use orange. Okay. Equals $20.43. Okay. Y'all see that? So that's how much they will earn in dividends from their current stock. Okay. This is how much basically dividends are the company paying you as a thank you for you investing in their stock. Right? This is over and above the gains that you get. So this is not tied to the 17,000 that they're going to get once that stock goes back up. Okay? Right? Tiffany says this is where the long game comes in. Long game comes in. Loving the math though. Give me the passive income. I know, right? Give it to me. Give me the passive income. Y'all like that I got a whiteboard now? I know last week I had the paper and the pencil and I was paper and pen and I was writing and I looked back at it. I was like, they can't see nothing I was writing. Let me go get me a whiteboard so they can actually see these numbers. So let me know if this is better, if you can see this better than you could the pencil and the pen and the paper I was working on. David says you can't see what I'm showing on the board. Can you guys not see it? Can you see it now? Is that better? Maybe I need to put it closer to the screen. Is that better? I'll put it closer to the screen so you guys can see that better. Okay. All right. Hey, Alex. Okay. So back to this. Okay. So again, if you're watching on Instagram, you're going to want to come over on YouTube. That's where the party is over here. Everybody's over here talking, chatting. It's a lot more lively over here. And I can show more. I can post links on YouTube. I can't do that on Instagram. Okay. All right. So David, let me know, was that better, what I just did, so if you could see the screen better, okay? All right, so back to the example. That's my pen. All right, so once the stock splits and it gets divided by 10, right? Now, Sean can't see you much because of the split screen. Oh, okay. Let me stop. Let me end the let me end that. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. Is that better? This should be a lot better. Thank you for letting me know, you guys. This is why I love being on YouTube, because I can get direct feedback immediately. Okay, Beverly. Okay. So to go back over it, one share of the stock is currently $17.46. Okay. Ignore this for now. Okay. Ignore this part. I'm just going to go back over the split. Okay. So one share is currently worth $17.46 of AVGO stock. When it splits on Friday, we're going to divide that number by 10. And now every share, one share is going to be valued at $174.60. But because Beverly and Shauna already bought their stock before the split, they now have 10 shares. So even though the price gets divided by 10, the number of shares gets multiplied by 10. Okay? I mean, the value, the number of shares gets multiplied by 10. Okay? So their stock was worth $17.46 when they bought it. So we're going to multiply. Once the stock price goes back up, remember, this is going to take some time. Passive income is not immediate. It takes time, okay? Once it goes back up to the price and beyond, we're just going to, for the sake of this example, we're just going to say it goes back to the price. We're going to multiply that by their now 10 shares. They did not put a single extra dime into this, okay? They didn't put any more money into it. And now their $1,746 investment is now worth $17,460, and they didn't put a single extra dollar into this. Like, hands up and claps for them, right? Okay, so let's go back to what's in blue. So now we're talking about this is all passive income. This is all passive income, okay? However, some stocks, some companies will pay dividends, okay? And these dividends, you can see them as a thank you from the company for investing in their company, okay? This number over here has nothing to do with anything that's in red. Okay, so what I'm putting in blue and orange is completely separate from this. So this is all passive income, but this is just additional. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you what to do with it. All right. So at one point, to Monica's question earlier, she said, does every stock pay? Does every stock have the same ratio of 1 to 10? The answer is no. And just like that, not every stock pays the same dividend ratio either. Okay. Some stocks have super high dividend percentages. I'll tell you some of those in just a minute. Some of them are more average, like what we're talking about for AVGO, and some of them don't pay at all, like Amazon. Okay. So right now, you will make $20.43 on this stock at this price. Okay. Karen says, I thought the money doesn't change. You just get more shares. Yes, Karen, but what you're forgetting is that right here, this last line is when the price goes back up. So we're assuming that the price is going to go back up. This is just an example, right? So let me draw kind of like a line here. Price goes up. Okay. So at this point, the price has gone back up. Okay, Karen. Okay, cool. She said she got it. Chrissy says, I can't believe at. Tell me what you mean, Chrissy. I'm not sure what you mean. Let me know what you mean by that. Okay, so they now have 1746. Yes, over time. Okay. So now let's say the dividend price stays the same. Usually it goes up, but let's just say for now it stays the same. And their shares are worth $17,460. So let's do the math. So now we're $17,460 times 1.17%. And now 1.17% equals, I'm running out of space. Now they earned $204.28. Okay. So now they didn't do anything extra, and now they just earned an extra $204.28 just on GP because the company likes you, basically. Chrissy says, I can't believe Amazon doesn't pay dividends. I know. It's crazy. As much money as we all spend on Amazon, I don't know why they don't pay dividends. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, so you will earn an additional $204.28 for nothing, right? You have done nothing extra, but you earned like 10 times more, right? In passive income, just chilling. Like, I mean, that's a bill, right? That's a bill you could pay. That's a maybe even a bag. That's some shoes. That might be like I don't know. It could be anything. What can you do with extra $200 for no reason? And that's just one stock. So assume that you have, let's say you have 5 or 6 different stocks that you own, and they're all paying dividends. And let's say they all, again, for the sake of this example, let's say they all pay the same amount. They won't, right? But for example purposes, right? Let's say they all pay the same amount, and now you multiply that times 5. Now you got over $1,000 in passive income just from dividends, right? Like that, and that's completely separate from this. And this is what I'm talking about with FU money, right? Like this stuff is so uncomplicated, but they make it so hard to understand. Does this make sense to you guys? If this doesn't make sense at all, somebody let me know, because I want to make sure that I am able to explain it to you. I don't want you to be confused. Karen says she loves that. Yeah. So remember last week we were talking about passive income from your high yield savings account. How you can earn like close to $10,000, right? So just think you've got 10 grand in passive income over here from your high yield savings account. You've got another $1,000 in passive income just from dividends, not even from your stock earnings, right? Another $1,000 in dividend. And remember, your number, the amount that you earn goes up the more you own. And obviously, over time, your goal is to buy more stocks that are doing well, right? If you have a stock that's killing it and you own 5 shares, why not buy 5 more? Why not buy 5? Why not funnel money into that to make yourself more money, right? So you're going to make more money because you're naturally putting more money into the stock that's killing it. So this could actually be a really, really low number for you. Mac Leadership says, is that dividend amount per month or per year? That's per year. That's per year. And they pay you quarterly though. So they divide it by 4, right? So here's what I suggest that you would do with this money. Oh, I'm sorry. You also asked a question earlier. And I forgot to answer it. What did you ask earlier? Is it best to buy the stocks before the split? It's best to do what your budget allows, right? If it's best to do what your budget allows. If your budget allows you to buy stocks before the split, absolutely 100% do it. But don't not buy the stock just because you can't buy it before it splits. Because we're playing the long game here, right? The stock is likely going to split again at some point. It's not going to split this year again. It's not going to split next year. It might split again in 5 years. Who knows, right? But just because you can't get it today at before the split, that doesn't mean you shouldn't get it. You should still get what you can. If you can't get 10 shares or 5 shares at the split, then get 2. Get 1. Get 4. Get half of one. You can buy fractional shares. Just get in, right? You can't win the game if you don't play, basically. So you got to play. So yes, if you can't get in beforehand, perfect, do that. If you cannot, do what you got to do. Do what you can do. We can only do what we can do, right? Thank you. And I will be buying because I'm here for the long game. Yes, girl, we are here for the long game. I thought someone else asked another question too, but maybe that was it. I think that was it. Okay. So again, we're compounding this over time. Now, here's a couple things that you can do. Here's the play. Okay. Here's the play that you're going to do to really like blow this up. Okay. Remember last week we were talking about high yield savings accounts. Okay. Your high yield savings account will earn you the ones I gave you will earn you 5.25% interest, right? You're going to take and what goes into your high yield savings account is your emergency account. Okay. Y'all should really write this down or save this video and come back. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, right? Let's get those likes up because the more that this is liked, the more YouTube will share this type of information with others. Okay. Beverly says, so it could still be beneficial to invest in NVIDIA, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. Hit that like button for me, you guys, and hit that subscribe button as well. Let's look at NVIDIA. I'm going to look at NVIDIA in Robinhood right now. So NVIDIA is currently trading at $134.79. Now, when it split 3 weeks ago, it was trading at $120. It was trading at $120 3 weeks ago when I told y'all to buy it. Okay. If you didn't buy it, don't worry about it. Before the split, it was like $1,200. Okay. So it was a lot more. So it's still way less, Beverly. So you should absolutely buy it if you're interested in NVIDIA. I would buy it if it was me. If I didn't already have it, I suggested you buy it too. Okay. So $120. Let's see. Divided by 134 minus 1. Excuse me. It's up 10% today, right? So this stock is up. I told you the stock market gets 10% gains over time. This stock has gotten 10% gains in 3 weeks. That's just 3 weeks. Like, what's it going to do in 3 months or 3 years? So if you didn't get in on it before, it's okay. Just get in on it now. because you are going to be kicking yourself. You're going to be kicking yourself if you don't get in on this stock and it goes up. We did the math, 2 weeks ago? And I was telling you how I got in on Chipotle when it was lower. Currently, for the amount that I was paying in a car note per year, I would today have $34 million. If I had just taken the money I was paying on this car note and put it into Chipotle when it was $50 a share. When it was $50 a share, and then it rose up to $3,000 a share. As of today, y'all wouldn't even see me on here. I'd be buying a couple islands, and I will be inviting y'all to come hang out. I wouldn't be on here at all. Okay? I'd be enjoying my $34 million. But since I didn't do that, I'm teaching y'all how to do it. Okay? So anyway, so you're going to take this money, right? So let's say you multiply this over 5 stocks. Let's say you just own 5, just 5, right? You want to buy as many as you can. Let's say you just own 5 stocks and you are able to get $204 to around $200 in passive income. Multiply that times 10, multiply it times 5, you got $1,000, right? You're going to put that into your high yield savings account because there's no point. Because remember, you're like, these are 2 options. You're going to put into your high yield savings account just the interest, just the dividends, okay? Put that into your high yield savings account, earn yourself 5.25% on it, and it's constantly compounding every year. So now you're earning even more passive income on your already passive income. So we just passively passing the time while we earn passive income, okay? Now, that's the first thing. The other thing that you can do, and what I actually suggest that you do, is to not take this money out and go spend it. I suggest that you take this and automatically reinvest it into your stocks so that you can naturally buy more of the same stock without spending any more of your own money, right? So if you are in, let's say, Robinhood, there is a setting that you have to turn on. It is not automatically turned on, and you need to know this. It's not automatically turned on. You have to go into your settings. Robinhood, Stash, Moomoo, any of these, Fidelity, any of these, okay? You have to go and turn it on. I'm telling you, it's in your settings. Remember, I told you, they make all this stuff available to us, but they don't tell us about it because they don't want us to really win, okay? So I'm telling you what to do because they're not going to tell you this, okay? Go into your settings, find automatic reinvestment, and turn that on so that every time you get paid dividends, you are automatically reinvesting that money back into that same stock. So if you own AVGO or Broadcom, right, and you get paid a dividend for every one of these stocks that you own dividends in, that you get paid dividends in, it automatically reinvested. So now you're able to buy more of the same stock that's already killing it without you spending any more of your money. The goal for all of us should always be to live off of the passive income, right? We'll work our fingers to the bone and we'll put the principal into the high yield savings account. We'll put the principal into, the stocks or whatever. But everything that's earned, that's what we want to live off of and keep the principal there. And that's how the wealthy maintain generational wealth for generations to come because their families are living on the interest. They're not in the passive income. They're not touching that principal. The Rockefellers ain't never touched that principal. The Walmart family, they don't never touch that principal, right? The L'Oreal family, they don't touch that principal. Everybody lives off of the interest, right? Now, of course, their interest is going to be a little bit more than mine and yours, right? But that doesn't mean that we can't adopt the same principles. So Instead, like this is a way to work smarter and not harder, basically. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. Give me a 4 in the comments if that makes sense. Give me a 4 if that makes sense. We're working smarter and not harder. Chrissy says that's smart. Okay. So we're going to automatically reinvest our money back into the stocks. And this way, somebody like Sean and Beverly, who bought their shares before the split, right? They're already making hella money just because they bought before the split, right? And if you didn't, again, don't worry about it. You can still buy after, right? But now they're going to they don't have to invest another single dime if they don't want to. Of course they can, but they don't have to because they're going to take this money, it's going to go back into the stock. Now, of course, if the stock is trading at $174 and you reinvest $204, you're not going to be buying a whole lot of extra stock, right? But ideally, you're not just, I'm going to suggest that you probably try to buy 10 more or you try to buy as many as you can. I mean, Nancy Pelosi is like somebody you guys should really follow Whether you believe in her politics or not, you should follow her because she is known to be a whiz at the stock market. Whatever Nancy Pelosi is investing in is pretty much gonna do its thing, right? And so Nancy Pelosi is somebody, she got buku bucks, right? So she's buying, 10,000 shares of Tesla or whatever. Like we're not doing that, right? But the bottom line is that whatever you can buy, you're going to want to buy more of it if it's doing well. Now, Tiffany earlier said she has some stocks that's not doing so well. So you may not want to buy those right now, right? But also the game is to buy low so that it can raise up and you can sell high, right? So maybe it's advantageous to buy some of those stocks that are quote unquote losing right now, especially if traditionally they've risen over time. That might be, I'm not telling you to do that. You need to do your research and find out, right? And eventually I'm going to do a video on how to research stocks because I realize we talk about individual stocks and I don't want you all to just be beholden to my suggestions, right? I want you to know how to look at a stock and determine if this stock is worth you looking at, right? Sean says, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see Desi's first. Desi said, if you are reinvesting, when can you enjoy the fruits of your labor? At any point, you can sell your stock, Desi. At any point. Like you can sell it. If you bought stock today, you can sell it tomorrow, right? So you can enjoy the fruits of your labor the very next day, right? But some stocks you're going to want to buy and hold. Like there's this set of stocks called the Magnificent Seven. And I know I'm gonna forget a few, but there's 7 stocks that are kind of like tried and true. I've invested in all those stocks because I know that those stocks traditionally they're gonna make money, right? So it's Meta, aka Facebook. So Meta, Tesla. You could literally just Google Magnificent Seven. Let me actually do it right now because I know somebody gonna ask. Magnificent Seven stocks. That's also a movie, you guys. So we're not talking about the movie, we're talking about the stocks. Okay. So it's Alphabet, which is Google. Google, the holding company for Google is Alphabet. So Alphabet, which also owns YouTube, right? Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. Those are the Magnificent Seven. They're collectively known as the Magnificent Seven because they've accounted for a significant portion of the U.S. equity market in the past several years. Okay, so like if I were you guys, I would say, okay, these are tried and true stocks that I know are going to do well. Nvidia is on that list, right? So I know these stocks are going to do well over time. They've traditionally performed extremely well over time, even though Amazon doesn't pay dividends. They shady, but whatever. The rest of them pay dividends. Okay. So let's say you're invested in all 7 stocks and you get paid dividends from 6 of them, right? And let's say you're making, depending on how much you have invested, because it's based on your dollar amount, not based upon how many shares you have. So that means when the stock price increases, your dividend amount increases as well. Does that make sense? If it was just based on shares, you're kind of locked into however many shares you own. But when the stock price increases, so think about all the people who had shares of Chipotle. I don't know if Chipotle pays dividends or not. I haven't looked, but let's say it does. And let's say you own Chipotle when it was paying $50. Let's say you own 10 shares when it was paying $50, and then the price rose to $3,000 some dollars, right? So now your dividends are exponentially larger because it's paying you on the dollar amount, not on the number of shares. So your passive income in this case can naturally get higher just because the stock price is rising. So if we know this, it's to our advantage to purchase stocks that have dividends, particularly high dividends, because especially things like the Magnificent Seven or stocks like it, or even the stocks on the S&P 500, which we haven't discussed yet. I don't want to confuse y'all, so don't even worry yourself with that yet. But stocks that are blue chip stocks that do well, because we know that price is going to increase. The stock price is going to increase over time naturally. And so therefore, we're going to get paid higher dividends over time, right? Again, this is a long game play. This is not for short-sighted people. And y'all who are here, y'all not short-sighted. That's why I can talk to y'all like this. But for those people who's like, I got to get my money right now and I can't just wait it out. They'll never benefit from the long game. Nobody builds wealth in the short game. It's a long game play. Carolyn says they don't pay dividends. Okay, well, they don't pay dividends. But if they did, that would be amazing, right? Sean said, thank you so much for the clear and simple language. I invest with companies that I know, but just wanted to get in, even if I was just paying $25 to $50 per week. Yes. See, Sean, you're smart, right? So you're like, let me just put money in here. Let me just put, even if it's just 25. A lot of times people feel like if they can't put a significant amount of money into something, then it doesn't make sense to do it. And that's the wrong mindset, right? Because $25 over the course of four weeks is $100, right? $100 a month over the course of a year is $1,200. Now you invested $1,200 in the stock market in the course of a year just by investing $2,500 a week, and double that if you use your other example of 50, right? So if you use $50 per week, that's $2,400 in a year that you're investing in the stock market. What we spend frivolously $25 a week. Frivolously do we spend $50 a week, right? Frivolously. So because you're smart enough to say, you know what, maybe I can't do, a bulk of like $3,000 at one time, but I can put a little bit here and there. And over time, the long game wealth play is that I'm going to make significantly more if I put nothing in, right? Again, you can't win the game if you don't play, right? So Sean, you have the right thinking for sure. She said, now I'm going to take a closer look at my stocks to get a real understanding. This is my second live, and it's unreal how much I have learned. Yay! I am so excited to hear that, Sean. Thank you so much for that feedback. I'm thrilled that this is simple and clear for you guys to understand, and it makes it so you're like, oh, the proverbial light bulb goes off, and you're like, I can actually like wealth is actually like attainable for me. Like it's really not hard. It's really not. But they make it really, really complicated. And it's really not your fault that you don't understand it. Because it's made that way for a reason. It's designed to be complicated. It's designed to be complex and difficult in its teaching. But really, when you break it down, it's real simple. It's real simple. So I'm glad that this is resonating so well with you guys. So well. That really fulfills me a lot. So again, when it comes to stocks that pay dividends. So I wrote down a few stocks that pay high dividends. So this example I gave you about AVGO, the reason I want to talk about AVGO is because AVGO is splitting on Friday. Okay. And so it's kind of like not urgent, but it's kind of important that you pay attention to this. So those of you who are able to buy before the split, do your thing. For those of you who cannot buy or do not want to buy until after the split, that's fine too. Just buy it. Okay. Just buy it. And so even if you wait till Friday, now generally the stock is going to be whatever it is on Friday, right? Generally speaking, this is very general. Stocks, when they split, they rise up real quick and then they go back down. They sometimes go below the split price, but not always. Not always. And so for me, I actually prefer to buy when the stock splits because I don't know if that stock price is going to go below or not. Remember, the stock market is sophisticated gambling. Okay. So it's a gamble. We don't know if it's going to go down, if it's going to go up. We want to buy as low as possible. $174 for a stock is still high, right? It's just not as high. So we don't want it to go up to like $200 and then come back down to 190 and be like, dang, it went down, but it didn't go down as much. I should have got in at 174. I'd rather get in at 174 because I know for sure what the price is going to be than to wish, cross my fingers on a hope and a prayer that it's going to go below 174. So my suggestion is to, as soon as you can, get the stock, however many shares. Get 1 share, get half a share, get a quarter of a share, get 3 shares, get 5 shares, whatever you can afford, get it. Okay. Karen says, Gwen, can you recommend a good brokerage account? I like Stash, but I think I'd like to transfer it out of that account. Stash is cool. I personally use Robinhood for my like individual stock investing. I also have Fidelity for my Roth IRA and my regular SEP IRA because I'm a self-employed individual, so I have a SEP IRA. Those of you who are not self-employed, you probably have 401k. Okay, so same thing basically. And let's see what else. For my HSA, which is my health savings account, I have that at Charles Schwab. And the only reason I have it at Charles Schwab is because that's the brokerage that the health savings account chose. So that's what I have to use for that. But the other ones I chose on my own. So I like Robinhood. it's just very easy to navigate. It's not like a whole lot of lines and unnecessary things to convolute your brain and get you confused. So I like Robinhood for that reason. Also, their stats are very well laid out. So like I showed you guys earlier, like the screen where you can see clearly where the dividends are. You can clearly see the market cap and all that sort of stuff. It's real easy on Robinhood. Moomoo was probably like a second favorite, although I don't use Moomoo. But that's Moomoo, like a cow, Moomoo. Moomoo is cool too, but I like Robinhood. Robinhood does not charge a fee, Karen. It does not charge a fee for you. Robinhood does not charge a fee for you to use their service, and most of these other brokerages should not either. If you've come across one that charges a fee, then don't go with them. Stash charges $3 a month. Oh no. Get rid of that. Get rid of them. No. We're not paying fees. The only time that Robinhood charges a fee is if you decide to, because you can put your money. Let's say you put $1,000 into Robinhood, but you have not yet invested it, right? So you can put money just in there for it to just sit. There's no fee for it to do that. But let's say you wanted to earn I think their number is 5% interest. You can earn 5% interest on your money just sitting in, like, your uninvested money just sitting in Robinhood, and they charge you $5 a month, which is $60 a year. So it's not really worth it unless however much money you have in it times 5%, it's going to net you more than 60%. So I say don't even do that. Just put your money in a high yield savings account like we talked about last week. You're going to earn more than 5% anyway. And then the moment that you're ready to invest, just immediately transfer the money from the high yield savings account over to Robinhood. That's the only time Robinhood charges you a fee. And that's if you use that service. I don't use that service because it doesn't make sense to pay them. I mean, it's nominal, right? It's $5 a month, but $5 a month is better in my pocket than theirs, right? They got more money than me. So I just keep my money in Genius, which is the high yield savings account we talked about last week. And the way Robinhood has it set up now is that you can immediately transfer. You don't have to wait any time. So if I want to invest in AVGO today, I can just, it's already connected to my Genius account. I can just automatically transfer the money over and then invest in AVGO. And I'm earning more, a higher percentage over at the high yield savings account anyway. What's the stock ID for YouTube? So YouTube is owned by Google owns YouTube, which also owns Alphabet, right? So the stock ticker is G. They have two. One is GOOG and one is GOOGL. Artistry and Me. So you might want to know what the difference is. Okay, so because I know it's the next question. So the GOOG stock, well, one of them allows you to basically have voting rights, and one of them is no voting rights. So let me see which one it is. Yeah, GOOG has no voting rights. So you can't vote on what they do. You just own shares. But the GOOGL stock, you do have voting rights. And I think for that reason, the price may be a little bit different too. Let's see. The GOOG stock is currently trading at $192.68, whereas GOOGL is trading at $191. So it's like $1 difference. So if you want to be able to vote on what they do with their funds, then you go with GOOGL. If you don't care about that, then you go with GOOG. That's the only difference. You're welcome, Karen. Somebody asked a question earlier, I thought. Oh, David, how long have you been doing this? It seems you have how long have you been doing this? Seems you have mastered this. Well, thank you. So I've been investing in the stock market pretty actively since a little bit before the pandemic. So 4 years now. But I was always like really interested in it. And I've always been really interested in just like money, how money works and all of that, and how complicated money is for the vast majority of us, that because they don't teach it in schools. So I've always been interested in that. So I've been actually investing in my retirement since I was like 24. I read this book by Susie Orman. It was called Young, Fabulous, and Broke. And it was a really popular book at the time. She was marketing it to like young professionals. I was like 23, 24. And it just blew my mind how much money I could save if I started saving when I was young at 24. And I remember dating this guy at the time, and he was a little bit younger than me. And he, I think I was 24. He may have been 21. And I was telling him that that I was, going to be I was going to be saving for my retirement. And I just remember him being like, retirement, like retirement's so far away. Why are you even thinking about that? Like, put that book away. And I was just like, we're gonna be 60 something before you even know it. Like, I know it seems a far away, but you can't even fathom how quickly that time's gonna fly. And he just could not grasp the idea that I was 24 thinking about like being really concerned about my retirement and like making sure I was investing in the right thing. So I've always invested my money into retirement and then invested that money that's in the retirement fund into the stock market. I've always done that. But in terms of me investing individually, like myself, like a whole separate account, separate from retirement, that's more like 4 years or so. He said, hopefully I will be able to learn like you did. You will. Well, if you watch this channel, I'm gonna teach you all the things. And here's the thing. Like I am not perfect. I have not been perfect with my money, right? I've definitely made some mistakes, which I've shared here on this video. I mean, on this channel several times, right? Like I'm super transparent about that. If you've never made a mistake with your money, give me a 5 in the comments. I mean, if you have made mistakes with your money, give me a 5 in the comments. If you've ever made a mistake with your money, give me a 5. Okay. I have definitely made mistakes with money, and we all have and will make mistakes with our money. And not even necessarily mistakes, right? We all will like do things like we probably could buy this or invest in this, but we really want to do this trip or we really want to buy this thing. And so, it's what it is. We're never going to be perfect. I see a ton of 5s, right? We're never going to be perfect with our money. And so the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is just to make smart decisions as much as possible, right? And then pass that information down to others and then pass it over definitely to our children or our grandchildren because they're not taught this in schools. We weren't taught it in school, so we had to learn it, right? So I'm constantly talking to my son about money because he's 13 now. One day he's going to turn 18. I see 5s over here on Instagram too, right? One day he's going to turn 18. He's going to go to college. And you know what they're going to do in college? They're going to bombard him with those credit card offers. Get a free t-shirt and sign up for 25% interest. Get a free pencil case if you sign up for this 18% interest, right? And it's going to seem like when you're 18, you got all the time in the world to pay this it's like free money, quote unquote, but it's never free. Ain't nothing free, right? So I'm constantly talking to him now to educate him so that when I don't have my paws on him, when I don't have access to him like I do now, when he's off at college or whatever, he's able to recall those conversations we had and possibly make smart decisions and ideally even call me if he has something that comes up that he needs to make a decision about, right? But we can't do any of that if we don't have the education, right? What do I think about crowdfunding? I think crowdfunding's fine if you are raising money for a company, Artistry and Me. I think it's cool. I think it's better than honestly. I think crowdfunding is better than trying to get an investor, like a actual investor. An actual investor may give you more money, but there's also a cost that comes with that money. So that's an entrepreneurship discussion. But yeah, I think crowdfunding is great. I think crowdfunding is definitely great. You don't oftentimes you don't have to give up equity. Sometimes you do in your company. But I would, if I had to choose between crowdfunding and then getting like a venture capital investor, I would choose crowdfunding every day. 100%. It's more work. It's definitely more work. It's more involved. You got to market and all that kind of stuff. But barring all of that, I would choose crowdfunding every single time if I had to. Okay. What else? Okay, let's take a look at some of the stocks that pay high dividends. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a list. I think it's 10 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, 10 stocks that pay high dividends. Okay, so compare that to the 1.17% that we talked about for AVGO. Okay. So the reason we talked about AVGO today is because AVGO is splitting on Friday. So I want you all to get in on that. I don't want that to go by. I don't want that to be out of sight, out of mind. I want you all to remember, get in on AVGO, right? Because y'all are my rich friends, right? We can't be rich friends if we're not actually rich. Okay. So we gotta get this together. Okay. So we're going to invest in AVGO on Friday. Keep in mind, this information is for educational purposes only. I'm not a stockbroker. I have no skin in that game, but I do want to provide you all with the education so you can make logical decisions for yourself. Okay. Now, here's some stocks in no particular order that pay high dividends. ExxonMobil, pays 3.35%, 3.35% dividends. Remember, these are over and above the cost or whatever your gains are for your stocks that you're invested in. 3.35%. AVGO is paying 1.17. So you can see that's more than double, right? Verizon is the highest I was able to find. So if you are a Verizon customer, so Sean said earlier that she invests in companies that she knows about, right? If you use any company that you use, you should consider at minimum investing with them, right? If you are a Verizon customer, maybe you want to consider Verizon, right? Verizon pays 6.42% dividends. That's high as hell. 6.42% is really high, really, really high dividends. So remember, we talked about in this example with just 1.17% dividends, they were going to make, Sean and Beverly are going to make $204 on this. Multiply this by 6, right? So now they've made what, $1,200 in dividends just from this one stock if they invested in Verizon, as an example, right? That's just from that one stock. And that's if they only own 10 shares. 10 shares. How much is Verizon trading at right now? Let's see how much Verizon's trading at. Verizon is trading at $41. It's not even that high. It's $41 a share for Verizon, right? So, like, you could get in on that. Again, I don't know. I haven't researched Verizon, so don't quote me on this. You got to do your research, right? But assuming Verizon would be a company that I would suggest investing in, right? You could invest in Verizon for relatively cheaply, make 6.42% dividends. This is passive income for you. Okay? Passive income, 6.42%. That's like more than 6 times what AVGO is paying. Okay? Johnson & Johnson, 3.31%. Medtronic, 3.6%. Duke Energy, 4.07%. PNC Bank, 3.91%, almost 4%. Kinder Morgan, 5.71%. Devon Energy, 4.4%. And Dow, 5.36%. The Dow Industrial Average is paying 5.36%. So if you're invested in the Dow Jones Dow Jones, if you invest in Dow Jones, you'll make 5.36%. So the bottom line is, when you are looking at a stock to invest in, you want to make sure that you do your research, and hopefully it's a stock that has been, doing well over time, right? But it's a double bonus if that stock also pays dividends, because you can either take that money, like I said, the first option is to take that money, take that passive income out every year, put that into a high yield savings account, earn yourself 5.25 or more percent, depending on depending on which one you invest in. Okay. Yes, I'll repeat it for you, Beverly. I'll actually even write it down on the board so that way y'all can take a screenshot of it. Okay. The second option, which is the one I suggest, is to take that same money and put it, just automatically reinvest it. See, the way that we easily make money quickly and easily, not quickly, but easily, it's when we don't have to think about it, right? If you can put it on if you can automate this, if you can put it on autopilot, you don't have to think about it, and you're automatically saving money without realizing that you're saving money. So let's take that same example of the Verizon, which is 6.42%, and let's say Beverly and Sean were able to earn $1,200 a year with it just sitting in the account, just from that one stock, not counting any of the other stocks that they are also invested in, right? If they earn $1,200 a year, they will have to save on average, what am I doing? Why can't I do math right now? Hold on. They'll have to save on average $100 a month in order to over a year, right? In order to get that same amount, which they could still do, or they could just allow the dividend to do its thing and automatically reinvest that back into the stock. So if they bought, let's say, Verizon stock at 6.42% interest rate and it's trading at $40, how many shares could they buy at $1,200? Let's do the math and figure it out. So at $1,200 divided by, let's just say $41, they could buy 29 shares of stock in Verizon and not have put in a single extra dime. Not have put in a single extra dime. Just because the dividends are automatically reinvested. So now you're making more money. So Desi, earlier you said, well, when can we pull out our money and enjoy the fruits of our labor? Anytime, right? But wouldn't it be even cooler if you left that money in there for a little bit of time, let the dividends do its thing, and then you pull that money out, and now you've got all this extra income that you didn't have to do anything for, right? So let me write down these other ones for you guys so that you can see them. Okay, so Exxon, I'm gonna write this down so you all can take a screenshot of it, and you can consider looking into them yourself, okay? And again, these are in no particular order. And also keep in mind that dividends change. They usually increase, sometimes decrease, but usually increase over time. So what a stock is paying in dividends today will likely be less than it's paying in a couple of years, which is great news for you because that means that your money is growing even more without you doing anything with it. All right, still writing this down. And I'll also post this in the Get Money group. So if you're not a member of I forgot to even mention this. If you're not a member of the Get Money crew on Facebook, you're going to want to go over to Facebook and search for Get Money crew. Okay, search for the Get Money crew because this kind of information is in this group. I'm going to post this in there as well. And we're going to be doing a 5-day money challenge in a few weeks. I'm going to be posting about that. Okay, you got to be a member of the group in order to get on that. Okay. Just search for Get Money Crew. It'll pop right up. It's the only Get Money Crew on Facebook, I think. GAN. Sorry, my chicken scratch. Y'all not going to be able to read that. Kinder Morgan is 5.71%. Devon Energy. I got one more. Hold on. Just bear with me, you guys. 4.41%. And Dow is 5.36%. Okay, here we go. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this. I'm gonna give you about 10 seconds to get your screenshots. And I'll make it visible on Instagram in just a second. Oh, wait, let me lift it up. Y'all got it? If you got it, let me know so I can take it down. Okay, I'm gonna go over here to Instagram. Again, I know it's backwards. So here's what you're gonna do, Instagram. You're gonna take a screenshot of this, and then you're gonna go into your photos, and you're going to flip the screen around so that it's right side up for you. Okay? Okay. Y'all got it? Okay, cool. All right, so these are the highest dividend paying companies I could find right now. Okay. Mac Leadership says, I just shifted my emergency funds into a certificate at 4.94 for 15% instead of 15 months instead of regular savings. Girl, for one, congratulations, because you're getting 4.94%. But I really wish you were here last week because we just talked about high yield savings accounts last week and why I don't suggest CDs, certificates of deposits, for emergency savings. And I'll go over it real quick because most people were here last week for that, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But the replay is here on the channel, so you can watch it. It's actually called $6,000. The thumbnail says $6,000 passive income. So if you click that, you'll see the whole thing. But I don't suggest that because here's the thing. Your emergency funds are in a certificate of deposit at 4.94%, which is great. But if you were invested in a high yield savings account, you could be earning 5.25%, which is higher than 4.9 for that. That's the first thing, right? Second thing is that it's an emergency savings account, right? This is for emergencies. If an emergency happens next month and you're locked in for 15 months, how are you going to get to your emergency savings? Right? Emergencies happen unexpectedly, right? So, like, we don't want our money locked up for 15 months and we can't get to it, because what happens if it's locked up for 15 months and you have an emergency? Now you got to go into debt to take care of the emergency that you already have the money for, but the bank has your money locked up for 15 months. Right. So really your emergency savings needs to be in a liquid account, an account that you can access right away. So I know you were trying to do a good thing, right? And you did do a good thing. Like, kudos to you for saying, I'm not making enough interest with this traditional savings account. You're probably earning less than 1% on your money, I'm guessing. So you were like, let me put this into something where I'm going to actually earn a higher percentage rate, which you did, right? You're earning 4.94%, but you would get a higher interest rate with a high yield savings accounts like the ones that I mentioned last week. And you would not only would you get a higher percentage rate, but you would have immediate access to your money. She said, I didn't put it all in there. Okay, cool. Well, hopefully you have enough in case an emergency happens. Hopefully no emergency ever happens. But beyond the immediate need for it, you will earn more interest on your money and not have it locked up at all in a high yield savings account. So I actually don't like CDs for that reason, because high yield savings accounts have gotten to the point where some of them are even surpassing CDs. And again, there's no amount of time that you do what? You just said I do. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Let me know. But there's no amount of time that you have to wait. And my nature, I'm just a little bit impatient. So I'm like, I need my money right now. Like, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait. On the other hand, if you are someone who, and I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to anybody. If you are someone who like spends a lot of money, and has trouble, like, you know how some people, like, as soon as the money hits their hands, like, it's gone, right? Okay, cool. So as soon as it hits their hands, it's gone. Maybe being in a CD is a good move for them, because therefore they can't get to the money, right? But I think for most people, if they have an emergency and they put all their money into an emergency savings account and then put all their emergency savings into a CD, it's not gonna bode so well if an emergency happens. So Mac Leadership, I'm sorry, tell me what you said your name was again, darling. You said you didn't put all of your money into the CD. So where's the rest of your money? Where's the rest of the emergency savings? Do you have that in a high yield savings? Do you have that in just a regular bank account, traditional bank account? What are you doing with that? Let me know. Okay. Dr. Nicole Brantley says, do you invest in ETFs? I do. I haven't discussed ETFs here yet because I'm still trying to, like, we're taking baby steps with everybody. Most of these people are extremely new to stocks. Chevy, thank you, Chevy. Most of these people are extremely new to stocks. And so to avoid convoluting and complicating things, we haven't discussed ETFs yet, but we will. We definitely will. Yes, I do invest in ETFs. I think ETFs are amazing. But right now we've been talking about stock splits and how stocks actually make money and dividends and all that sort of stuff. So yes, we will discuss ETFs. Let me know in the comment, have you ever invested in an ETF? Let me know. Okay. Okay. Somebody asked a question. Oh, Gabrielle Romeo said, can you please explain dividends once more? Girl, I explained it all. I just spent an hour and 30 minutes explaining dividends. I can't go over it all, but I can try to give you the cliff notes. Okay. You might have to watch the replay to get the full tea. So I'll do my best. Okay. So basically dividends are, think of it as like a thank you that a company is going to give you, monetary thank you that they're going to give you, monetary gift that they're going to give you, in exchange for you being an investor in their company. Right. So the dividend is just a payment over and above any gains that you get from the stock you're invested in. So it's completely separate, right? Some stocks pay dividends. Some companies pay dividends with their stocks. Some do not. An example of a well-known company that does not is Amazon. But some other companies do, like Verizon. We just talked about, pays 6.42%. Yeah, 6.42% in dividends. Other ones will pay different amounts. The stock we're talking about today, which is AVGO, pays 1.17%, for example. Dividend rates are not always the same. They usually increase over time. Yes, but what are dividends? I'm not sure if you're asking that based upon what I just said or prior to me saying that, Gabrielle. So dividends are it's just a payment that they give you, right? It's like cash. Like, thank you so much for being a good friend. Here you go. Basically, right? Thank you so much for investing in our company. Here you go. Thank you for spending your money with us. Here you go. Right? That's basically what dividends are. And so for that reason, they're not mandatory, but companies do use them as an incentive oftentimes to get people to invest. Right? And so it's just an additional payment that they give you. And it's free money, basically. It's free money that you deserve and that you should make sure that you get. It doesn't mean that if a company doesn't pay dividends that you shouldn't invest in them. I would absolutely suggest people invest in Amazon if they can. They don't pay dividends. You'll still get gains on the stock, but you just won't get dividends, right? But if you can get a it's like, why not? Why would I not take the dividend if you give it to me? Yes, Dr. Nicole says dividends are money you make in addition to your profits from shares in that company. Exactly. Yep. So it's just a gift that they give you, basically. That's the way I view it. It's like a gift. Thank you so much for being an investor in our company. We appreciate you. Here's your, or you can even think about it like bonus if you want to. You can think about it like an annual bonus because the dividend price percentage is an annual percentage, but they pay you quarterly, right? So you can either get a check in the mail, you can get directly deposited into your account, or you can reinvest it automatically into the stock market, which is what I suggest that you do. That way you're automatically reinvesting without having to put any of your own money into it. That's what I suggest. But you can certainly take that money out and go spend it and do whatever you want to with it. Now, what I didn't mention is that once you get to a point, which all of you here and all of us are going to get to this point where we're buying so many stocks, right? We just own so much in stocks. People are actually making like a lot of money on their dividends. So like people like Nancy Pelosi, like I mentioned, she'll buy like 10,000 shares of whatever, right? Like she's easily making, let's do the math on what Nancy Pelosi doing. So let's do some math. Okay. So if she owned Verizon and she owned 10,000 shares of Verizon, and Verizon's trading at $41 a share, right? Times 10,000. That means that she owns $410,000 of Verizon. But Verizon is also paying, 6.42% interest, right? So times 6.42%, not interest, I'm sorry, dividends. So just off Verizon alone, she would make $26,000. Right? So like dividends can really add up over time, but it's a lot easier to be able to buy more shares of something when you're automatically reinvesting it. That's why I suggest you automatically reinvest. So let's say she makes $26,000 off of Amazon, off of Verizon, and she made another $20,000 off of some other stock and another $50,000. These are just dividends. This ain't even her gains. Like you can have a whole like annual salary over the course of 4 or 5 stocks in just dividends if you have enough. You know what I'm saying? So the goal is never to own just like 5 stocks. The goal is never to own just 10 shares or 20 shares. The goal is to get as many shares as you possibly can of whatever stock is doing really well, because you can't help but to win with the stock that's doing well, right? If you have not already liked this video, click the like button for me. If you have not subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? Like we've been on dates. We've been on so many dates. Like we spend a lot of time together, and I just need a commitment. I really need us to start going together because, I like you a lot and I would like for us to be committed to each other. So click the subscribe button to subscribe to this channel, and I'm going to tell you or suggest to you that you also join the Get Money Crew on Facebook. Okay. So I'm going to give you the link to the Get Money Crew. I highly suggest that you join our group. It is free. It does not cost you a single dime, but in there we are going to be doing our free 5-day Fix My Finances challenge, where this will provide you with a customized roadmap for yourself that you're going to create. I'm going to walk you through it, how to get out of debt, when you're going to get out of debt, building up your emergency savings account, investing it into a high yield savings account, taking extra money, putting it into your retirement so you do not have to worry a single hair on your little head about how you're going to pay essentially for your retirement when you no longer have regular income coming in. And what else we're going to do? And investing in the stock market. Yeah. So Mac Leadership or Chevy says, I was able to do the changes certificate to 7 months. You just did it just now? Did you just do that just now? Let me know. Because I talk so fast sometimes. If you just did that just now, girl, like, talk about making a move. Talk about action, being an action taker. I love it. Dr. Nicole says, thank you, Gwen, for all that you do. I appreciate you. You are so welcome, my dear. You are so welcome. Thank you for being here. Okay. I think that we have come to the end of our time together today. Hopefully this was beneficial for you. Hopefully this is, Karen is invested in the SPY ETF. Yes. Good job. Yes, Chevy. Y'all give it up for Chevy in the claps. Y'all clap for her in the comments. Give me some clapping emojis. This is why I do this. Because every week that I'm on, y'all be taking massive action right away. Like while we're on the live, y'all are like, oh snap, let me go buy this stock. Oh snap, let me go open my high yield savings account. Oh snap, let me go reduce this 15-month CD to 7 months so I have access to my money sooner. Like, wow. I love it. I love people who take freaking action, who don't just look at something and be like, you know how people be like, yeah, I need to do such and such, or I need to be invested, or I need to do, forget what you need to do. What are you going to do? Right? What are you going to do right now? How are you going to, you need to make it happen. Why have you not done it? Right? If there's nothing barring you from doing, why have you not done? So Chevy, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for being here. Are you subscribed to the channel? If you're not subscribed to the channel, click the subscribe. I'm so proud. And I'm so proud of all of you who signed up for Genius or whatever savings account you signed up for last week. I'm so excited. Even if you haven't done anything, but you've gotten the knowledge and you're like, okay, I'm going to put this into action soon. Not later, but soon. I'm going to put this into action for myself. Because here's the thing. I don't get a dime off of y'all stocks. I don't get a single dollar off of any gains that you get. I don't have a brand deal with any of these companies, Robinhood, Mubu, none of that, right? So everything that I teach you is purely from the heart of wanting you to become financially free so you can truly live the life that you want. Build that FU money fund up so you can literally, like, money does not buy happiness, but money provides a lot of options. It solves a lot of problems, right? And so that is my goal, is to get you all to a point where you're just thinking about things differently. Like, I can tell you the way I think about things now, especially because I'm talking about money all the time with you all. Because before it was just me kind of like, doing it on my own. But now that I'm constantly thinking about it because I'm talking about it. But Linda, I'll answer that question for you in just 1 second. Thank you for asking. I'm constantly thinking about how much things, like the quantification of things, right? So remember, like last week or earlier this week when Kendrick Lamar's video dropped for They Not Like Us, right? And it got like 12 million views in like 12 hours. It was something crazy like that, ridiculous. And everybody was like, oh my God, he got 12 million views. So for me, being in the money space, right? Like, I know views don't matter on YouTube. What matters is watch hours, how long people are watching in terms of how YouTube pays, right? So everybody gets all excited about the views, which is really just a vanity metric, because what matters as far as payment from YouTube is how long people are watching any one video, right? And so I'm like, okay, 12 million views. Usually, this is my thought process, right? 12 million views, usually your watch hours are significantly less than your views. So that means he probably got 12 million views. He probably got at least 1 million watch hours times however much because everybody's like amount that they get paid on YouTube is a different amount depending on the category they're in. He's in entertainment. So he's not going to make as much as somebody who's in entrepreneurship or money per view or per watch hour. So he probably made maybe like, I don't know, $3-4 per watch hour. So he probably made like $3 million on just that video. Like, that's how my brain works, right? Because I'm like, everything is like so money oriented, right? So I'm like, dang, Kendrick Lamar made at minimum a couple $100,000, but on the high end, like $3 million off of one video. That's crazy, right? When everybody else is like, oh, he got 12 million views. I'm like, he made $3 million, right? Belinda said, where can I buy the VZ stock? So you can buy Verizon stock on Robinhood. You can buy it on Fidelity. You can buy really any brokerage. Really any brokerage. Like I said earlier, my preferred brokerage is Robinhood for my individual stock purchases and for like Roth IRAs and 401ks and stuff like that. Fidelity, that's my preferred, but you can buy it anywhere, but you have to open a brokerage account. So I've discussed before how to open a brokerage account. So real quick, you literally just go on your phone, download the app. Let's say Robinhood in this case, download the Robinhood app, and you just fill out the information, and now you have a brokerage account. It doesn't cost you anything. Somebody earlier mentioned that Stash costs like $3 a month. No point. You don't need to. I mean, it's nominal, right? But why? Why pay for that when they have free options? Download it, and then you can just you connect your bank account to it, put money into it, and then you can buy your stock. So right now, Verizon is trading at $41.07. Let's say you wanted to buy 10 stocks of it. I'm just making up a number. You would be paying $400 and some dollars. So you would transfer $400 over to that account, and you would press the buy button, and you would buy your stock. That's it. That's all you got to do. Hello, Vanessa Griffin. Okay. Okay, Gabrielle, I'm glad that you got it. Perfect. That's awesome. Karen's invested in the SPY ETF. Amazing. Good for you. We'll talk about ETFs probably in a couple weeks. Danny says, how do I get out of Stash and into another brokerage account? Do I sell all my Stash stocks and buy them somewhere else? So that's a great question. So I just noticed. So how it used to work is that, you're welcome, girl. That's my homegirl from like way back in the days, like my bestie when I was like, how old were we? Like 7. Lived on my grandma's street. Miss you. Okay, so the way it used to work is that all brokerage accounts, you were kind of like locked in to that brokerage account, right? So whatever, like say you had a bunch of stocks at Stash and you wanted to move it over to Robinhood, you had to sell all your shares, like you mentioned, Danny, and then you had to like basically rebuy the stocks, but it didn't benefit you because you would be buying them at the new rate. So if you bought those shares 2 years ago at a lower rate and now it's 2 years later at a higher rate, now you're really losing money, right? So you kind of had to stay at the brokerage that you were at. But now I just noticed the other day, I believe it was Robinhood, I saw that you can actually transfer your stocks over. So by transferring it, and I haven't looked completely into it, so give me some time to look into it, because I want to make sure that there's no fees associated with it, because I don't want to steer you wrong, right? Because I don't want you to do it and then you lose out. So this is for knowledge only. Let me take a look at it and confirm it. And I'll post it in the Get Money crew once I confirm, okay? But when I was briefly looking at it the other day, it looked like Robinhood will now allow you to transfer your funds over from any brokerage, and therefore you don't lose any of your gains. You know what I'm saying? So if you just transfer it rather than selling it and then rebuying, that's really beneficial. But again, I need to confirm that that's actually what they're doing and that there's not like a fee associated with it. Or if there is a fee associated with it, it's such a nominal fee that it still makes sense to do it, right? It's kind of like a balance transfer. You know, with balance transfers with credit cards, a lot of times the fee might be like $4 or 4%, depending on whichever one is more expensive. So if you have like $100 credit card balance at one company and you transfer it to this new card, well, $4 makes sense, right? But if you have a higher amount somewhere else and you transfer it over, now you're dealing with the 4%. I know I'm running a bunch of numbers without writing it down. Y'all might be confused. But basically, the bottom line is if the math makes sense and you're not going to end up paying more, then it makes sense to move it over. If not, then it doesn't. So let me research it. Okay. Chevy says the certificate had a higher interest rate at 5.02% for 7 months than their high yield account at 1.02%. This is a credit union. I don't know why they call it 1% a high yield. That's not high yield at all. But that's at a credit union. Yeah. So Chevy, I'm going to encourage you to look at the video I posted last week. I'm gonna see if I can find it for you. so that you can quickly get to it and you can watch it later. Because 1.2% is low. I mean, it's higher than the average, but it's still low in comparison to most high yield savings accounts. Okay. And I'm glad that you were able to get a lower amount of time and a higher interest rate. That's amazing. So congratulations on that. But in the event that once you're done, you can, I'm trying to get this link for you. Once you're done with your 7 months, you want to transfer it to an even higher interest rate place. This is the link that I talked about. This is the link that I shared last week about those high yield interest rates. How do I buy shares on Friday? What you talked about on Friday. Okay, so David, how to buy shares on Friday? You're going to do the same thing I just told Belinda to do. You're going to open a brokerage account. You can't buy anything if you don't have a brokerage account. So for those of you who do not have a brokerage account, you have to go and get a brokerage account. You can go to Robinhood, which is the one that I use. Again, I don't get paid a dime if you use Robinhood or Stash or whomever. I just like Robinhood, so that's what I suggest. Okay, you can go on your phone, go to the App Store, download Robinhood, follow the prompts. It's very easy to understand. Connect your bank account. It'll tell you how to do all of this. And now you're in the game. Okay, at that point, you then look for the stock ticker on Friday. It is AVGO, AVGO. Apple, Victor, Gloria, Octopus. Okay, AVGO. And you simply buy it. Now, the stock market opens at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time on Friday, and it closes at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. Okay, so you want to be on at 9:30 in the morning Eastern time to kind of look and see to make sure that you want to buy it. And yes, Dr. Nicole is absolutely right. Do not wait till Friday. Go get your account today. You can buy it on Friday, but get your account set up today. Get your account set up today. Link your bank account today. Transfer your money in, today or tomorrow, whatever. Get it done. So that way on Friday, that way on Friday, you are just pressing a button. You're literally pressing buy, and you got your stocks. Okay. Yes, don't wait till Friday. This is not something you want to procrastinate on. Okay, I think I saw somebody say something earlier about having a bunch of shares of AVGO, and I missed it. Let me try and find it again. Where is it at? Brian Phillips. There's a ton of thought and digging. I got 29 shares of AVGO. I'm very bullish on that stock after this. So did you already have AVGO prior to just recently? Or did you buy it when it was like $1,700 a share? Because you got 29 shares. So $1,700 a share, that's a lot of money. I'm assuming that you probably got it when it was lower and it's just risen, which is incredible for you. And then the split is happening. So instead of 29 shares, you're going to have 290 shares? Bruh. We talked about the terms in the money and on the money and out of the money. You about to be in the money. Like the money. You about to be in there. Yo, he has 29 shares of AVGO. Y'all, I don't even know how much it was when he bought it. If you're still on, sir, please let us know how much it was when you bought that stock, because I would love to do the math on that. Because I don't know how much it was when he bought it, because he didn't say. But if he bought that stock, yes, Brian is in the money. We all gonna learn from Brian, right? If he bought that stock, let's say even when it was like $100 a share, and it's worth $1,700 now. Let's see. $100 a share times 29 shares. That means he would have spent 20. I don't know how much he spent, but let's say he spent $2,900 on it. Right. And now it's worth 17. What, 1,007? Let's just say $1,700. So now that, did I do that math right? That can't be right. Wait a minute. Because I'm getting $4 million. So hold on. Wait, maybe I did the math wrong. So if you bought this stock at $100 and you bought 29 of them, you would have spent $2,900. And that stock is now $1,700. So I feel like I'm doing this math wrong because that's an insane amount of money. Brian, I need you to come back. I need you to be here and I need you to comment for us because that's incredible. Wait, okay. I'm getting $2,900 that he would have spent if he bought this stock. If my math is mid, Danny? Okay, because I'm tripping. I'm like, I know this man ain't on here sitting on 4 million. Like, sir, are you single? I'm joking, but I'm not joking. But the math is mathing. Okay, so if he spent, oh, Bryce is over here. What's up, Bryce? Bryce is my nephew. He said the whole family verified. Yes, he just got verified, you guys. He's D1 Golf on D1 Golfs with an S over on YouTube. Go follow him. He has a really fun and interesting and this lively Instagram page, and he just like started it, and he's already like 4,000 subscribers. So go follow him. Okay. Y'all laughing at me, but I'm like, what the hell? Okay, $2,900 that he would have spent. The stock is now worth $1,700. Okay, so times 17. Okay, yes, I'm getting like 4 million. I'm getting like $4.9 million. Like, and the stock ain't even split yet. So the stock is going to split. Wait, he has. Y'all, I'm flabbergasted right now. Y'all say I ain't got no words. I'm like, wait a minute. So he. Y'all laughing at me. So Brian has a lot of money. Okay, that's the bottom line. Brian has a lot of money, and the stock is going to split on. And that's and this is assuming that he bought it and didn't put a single extra dollar into it. Okay. We can also assume how much he would be making in dividends if this is the case. Right? Like the dividend, remember the dividend payment is based upon. Oh, the stock is even higher now, Danny. It was 1750 when we started this video. Now it's 1758 a share, right? So I'm at a loss for words. So wait, wait a minute. So the stock is whatever he paid for it, and he didn't. He didn't put in. If he didn't put another, I don't know what he did because he ain't commented. So maybe he left, or maybe he's just quiet because he like, no, it's all these women that's about to be in his DMs. I don't know, but if he didn't put another single dime into the stock, right, then he would easily have $5 million before the split. Prior to the split. Let me gather myself because I am just like, wow, this is the power of the stock market, you guys. This is why we must be investing. I don't know when he invested. I don't know when he started. I don't even know if he bought it at 100. He could have bought it at 600 for all I know. I have no idea because he ain't said, right? But if I just look at AVGO stock, I want to see how long ago it was low. So, okay, right now it's 1757. So let's look a year ago. 1 year ago, that same stock was $890 a share. So less, like more than half the price a year ago. And 5 years ago, that stock was $300 a share. 5 years ago, it was $300 a share. I know, right? Hey, Brian. I know Beverly's like, breathe. So $300 a share 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, I mean, that was 2019. That was literally like yesterday, it feels like, right? 5 years ago was 2019, $300 a share. That stock is blown up. Imagine if you were to buy that stock on Friday, even if you didn't get it before the split, even if you only got that stock on Friday and it didn't split again, right? But it just rose in price back to what it is today. Because it was $300, listen, 5 years ago. Okay. That means it was more 5 years ago than it will be on Friday. This is why I'm talking about, even if you can't get in before the split, you still need to get in. It doesn't matter how much you can get in with, just get in. Just get in the game. Because who knows what's going to happen in another 5 years. In another 5 years, that stock could go from 174 way past $1,700 like it is now. And we could all be Brian's, right? Okay. He said she reread his comment. She thinks he's bought it recently because he knew he was going to split soon. Well, if he bought it recently and it splits, he's going to have even more money. Because if he bought it at, let's just say $1,700 and he bought 29 shares of it, that means he spent almost $50,000 for 29 shares. But when it splits, he's going to own 10 shares. I mean, he's going to own 290 shares. So we're going to multiply this times 10. Oops, I did something wrong. What I say? 2,900. Shoot. 20. I'm still so like just flabbergasted. Okay, 29 shares times 1,700. Let's say it's almost 50,000 times 10, because that's how much he's gonna have $500,000. So if he bought it recently, he's still gonna have basically $500,000. If he bought it a long time ago, Brian might have $5 million, y'all. Brian might have. What's his name again? Let's find his name. Brian. Brian ain't said nothing. Brian is like, let me be quiet. I think it was Brian Phillips, y'all. Congratulations to you, sir. Isn't the value the number of shares at the current value? I don't understand your question, Zakia, but I'm gonna try to answer it. So the value of the stock is, I know he's super quiet, right? The value of the stock is whatever it's trading at right now, right? So right now the stock is trading at 17.58, right? But the value of your portfolio will be however many shares you own times that number. So if you own 10 shares at 17.58, your value is 17,058, right? Or 17,580, right? So the value of the individual stock is one price, but the value of your portfolio is however much it is that you own by that number. So if you own one stock, it's going to be that. If you own it, multiply that times 10. If you own 10 shares, multiply that times 100 if you own 100 shares. So it varies from person to person. Okay. So now I've found out that Brian has $5 million, maybe. Or at minimum, we'll have 500,000. Either way, Brian is winning. Brian's winning, regardless. Whatever. Congratulations to you, Brian. Because regardless of if you have 500,000 or 5 million, you're in the money, as we would say. Okay. All right, y'all. That's going to be it for me. Have an amazing day. Make sure that you prepare yourselves to get yourself some AVGO stock this week, whether you get it today, tomorrow, or Friday. Just know the price is going to be different depending on what day that you buy it. But either way, you need to get on it. Okay. And at minimum, if you can't buy one share, at least buy fractional shares. These stock brokerages nowadays allow you to buy half a share, a quarter of a share. If you only have $100 to spend, if you only have $10 to spend, you can still buy a share, a piece of a share. So I don't want to hear anybody not buying anything. You got to buy something. Okay. That's your homework for this week. Okay. I'm going to post it in the group. If you're not a member of the Get Money Show, Get Money Crew on Facebook, please go join the Get Money Crew. It is absolutely free. You're going to want to join the Get Money Crew. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff in there, but that's your homework. And I'm going to check in with you guys. You need to tell me how much you bought. Just, did you buy it? Did you buy stock this week in AVGO? All right. I'm so grateful that you're part of the crew as well, Nicole, and everybody else. Have a beautiful day, everybody. I love you all. And I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Oh, by the way, don't forget to watch my most recent episode that I dropped on Monday. We have a new episode dropping on Monday. And next week, we'll be back with another Run It Up Wednesday. Talk to y'all later. Bye.